What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chaos Theory Podcast. My name is Ivan, aka Kinetic, and we are back with a banger for season 2 of our podcast. We have a great guest with us today. It's been a while, guys. We've been hearing your feedback. It's been great. So, without further ado, Ken, take it away.
What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the Chaos Theory Podcast. Bro, it's actually been about 3 months since the last episode. Thank you guys for being patient. We kind of had to sort some things out, get the timing right. It was the holiday season, but we're back, dude. And we're back with an amazing episode. Our guest for today, this is a man, I always like to say that our guests have done it all, right? Yeah. They have a lot of feathers in their caps. Right. They've accomplished a lot of things. I think we all have in a certain sense, but this guy that we have here, he has had a very interesting journey. And he's seen a lot of things, a lot of popular moments, a lot of events from an outside perspective, and he's also participated in them as well. So he definitely has a unique perspective on these things, and we'll get into it. But I want to welcome at this time one of the legends of Regency Fun Center. I'm talking about JTron, Regency Rotron. What's happening, brother?
What's up, guys? Yo, man, thanks for having me here.
Dude,
it's truly an honor to be part of one of these episodes.
Dude, we've been meaning to get you on here for a while.
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely talked about it for a good while, so it's great to have you here, man, and can't wait to tell your story.
Good to be here.
Yeah, the lore behind you, JTron, is a lot of people know who you are, right? Mm-hmm. But they're not really 100% in tune with what you've accomplished, and that's what we kind of want to bring to the light in this episode. I always say that you can't be slept on. You can't sleep on the JTron because if you do, you're gonna end up on the wrong side of the gun, right? So like everything, we're gonna go through the origins. Obviously, we're gonna talk about how you got started, how you got introduced to the scene, rivalries, tournament results, hype moments. Like, we're gonna go over all of that.
Right. Okay. Maybe how he formed his team, how he got his name, that whole.
Oh yeah. JTron has plenty of weapons in his arsenal, though, that we're gonna talk about. Before we get started, guys, friendly reminder that Fight Kingdom is one of the premier tournaments that's coming up in Everett, Washington. It'll take place, I believe, the first week of May of this year. There's still plenty of time to sign up. Make sure that you guys go check it out because I'll be in attendance. You're going to have World Matchu there. Thriller will be there. And JTron is looking to make an appearance as well. So if you've ever wanted to get games in with him, money matches, whatever the case is, dude, he wants a piece of it all.
Mm-hmm. And we saw how last year Fight Kingdom was, in my opinion, the standout tourney of the year. Like, it was just... nobody expected it, and the turnout was great. Everyone had a great time, and I cannot wait to see how it's gonna play out in this year. So,
dude, not to mention Spider-Man put in some work. Huh?
Parker,
man,
Parker. Now people are asking me if I'm gonna bust out Shuma this year. Mm-hmm. I don't think I will.
That's rough.
I don't think I will, just because it's. I mean, I could if I ran. I think I would run a Magneto Storm Shuma just for the easy level 3. But I don't know, man. We'll see.
I've seen some of the videos on Facebook. It's very interesting.
It's looking pretty good, boys.
Has he played your Shuma?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, not yet.
He's gonna find out.
Not yet, dude.
I guess we'll get to that.
All right. So without further ado, guys, we're gonna get started with JTron's origin story. A lot of it is going to be new information for me as well, because we kind of grew into the scene together and we experienced some of the same moments. But there's a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes, and moments that I wasn't a part of, and some moments where you have your own opinions and your own thoughts on things as they went down, and hopefully you can kind of help us put the pieces together for the puzzle.
For sure.
So I'll turn it over to you, Juan. Tell us how you got started, bro.
It started with Street Fighter 2.
Wow.
At the laundromat, coming out of school, I would go play against the computer. I was pretty terrible at it, very scrubby.
Wait, Street Fighter 2?
Championship Edition.
Oh, okay.
The one that was, at the arcades.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Well, I didn't know how to do much on it until I ended up seeing a magazine where it showed you the characters' special moves, and it had the arrows.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
So
like
it's
the-
half a circle for
like the directionals,
Hadouken.
right?
Yes.
Like down,
for
forward,
hurricane
forward.
kick and Hadouken. I always struggled on the uppercut. That was my biggest struggle on the game.
Same.
For all
dude.
of us.
I struggled with that one. There was also another machine next to it, Marvel Superheroes. And I would just go there and just play on against the computer. There was competition at times. I would go in there, I'd win, I'd lose. I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
And
But,
who did you pick, Jay?
For Street Fighter, Ken.
Okay.
Ken was my character. Ryu as well. Gaio, I couldn't play because I didn't know how to do his charge moves. Yes,
His
I didn't know.
Sonic Boom.
Yes.
Sonic Boom.
So I didn't pick him. It was always Ryu or Ken. It was until I started going to the Compton Fashion Center, where they had all the games, all the fighting games, the versus, and there was actually competition there. So I started seeing other people play and the execution, the way they were playing, and I was like, "Whoa, damn!"
By this time, did Marvel 2 had it already been released, or
At the time, no,
okay?
I was still a teenager. I want to say I was like 13, 12, maybe around.
Probably
there.
like mid-90s.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, somewhere around there. Marvel 2 came out in 2000.
2000, yeah.
Right.
So that place where you were playing Street Fighter, did you ever try to play Marvel Superheroes?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Because that would have been a good segue to
For sure.
introduce you to that engine.
Oh,
with
yeah.
air combos
Yeah,
and
X-Men:
chain
Children
links.
of the Autumn.
Children
also.
of the
Yeah.
Atom was
That's another
pinnacle.
one.
Yeah. For sure.
I did play that one. That one was hard.
well, that engine
one was hard.
Yeah, the game engine for Children of the Atom is unique, right? It doesn't play like Marvel Superheroes or
That's right.
It's a little different.
It's its own.
It's its own thing.
It's its own thing. Yeah, I've been meaning to dabble with it, but I mean, for what, right?
Yeah,
it's a
no,
good
it's,
game, though.
Is it?
I think so. I mean, I think it's a good game.
I feel like it's slow, dude.
It is.
It is. It's
I
very
agree.
clunky. I feel like.
Yeah. That's the perfect way to describe it.
But all the moves were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you paid attention,
Yeah.
you were like, "Whoa, the moves are there."
Well, dude, there were a lot of extra moves that were taken out as these
Oh, for
characters
sure.
progressed. Like Sentinel had a
Yeah.
command grab.
Oh, that's true.
He had different animations for his normals.
Right.
So you can only imagine what would have happened if those moves had been brought over to.
Can you imagine
Marvel
Sentinel
2?
with a command grab right now?
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, they put it in Marvel 3, right?
Right.
Yeah, they brought it back,
But
so
then
we kind of missed out on that.
They also nerfed the shit out of him as well.
So Compton Fashion Center, where was it? Where was this place at?
This was in the city of Compton in Long Beach Boulevard and Tucker.
Okay.
So-
Did you find yourself in a spot where you kind of knew, okay, I know who the good players are, I know who I can beat, or
With time, I did because I started seeing the regulars showing up, so I was able to, learn from them, compete against them, and just get better.
How was the interactions with these like more like high level players? Were they like welcoming? Were they like kind of like standoffish? You know what I mean? Because
Well, some of them were gangsters.
yeah, for sure.
We're
in the hood.
They weren't very friendly either.
We're in the hood, so
And I was like, man, if I beat this guy, is he gonna beat me up?
yeah. There's that concern.
But
were the games 25 cents?
yes,
Oh, okay.
25
Thank
That's
God,
good.
dude.
Can
Yeah,
you imagine the
they
50
were.
cent ones, man?
they were.
But
25 cents.
even then, bro, 25 cents was still like, damn. If I only show up with $1, I mean, when I used to go to the arcade, I mean, it's not like I went
And
with
especially if you're
20
losing.
bucks. Yeah. 25 cents can go by like this, especially if if we're talking Marvel 2, right? And you play against somebody who knows how to do the infinite.
That's right.
I mean, back then when I first started, I was picking like Jill, Spider-Man, Strider, and then somebody would get me in the Iron Man Infinite, and I'm like, God damn, where'd my money go? I had to go to FYE down and sell a couple of DVDs to
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
get my money back.
Why? Oh my God.
When did you get your first experience with Marvel 2, right? Because obviously that's why we're here, and that's what we want to know is how did you get introduced to that game?
It was actually there.
Oh.
They brought a fresh, brand new cabinet.
Oof.
I think
Damn.
that, yeah. And I was like, oh, I got to play this. So I put a quarter in there, and I noticed assist 1 and assist 2. And I was like, what is this?
Right.
So I
This is
didn't like it
mind-blowing.
off the bat.
I
couldn't get used to it because the jab and the punch, and then you have your short and your roundhouse,
Right.
and then 2 assists. I was like, this isn't like X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Right. It's a whole new like way of thinking.
Yes. And I
You're
was
not
like,
used to this.
as a
like-
matter of fact, I thought maybe the game was programmed wrong. I was like, no, this can't be right.
They probably
You're
fucked
out.
up this cabinet.
I was like,
You're
no,
out
this-
telling the
this-
worker, "Hey, come fix this." And
So-
for those of you listening, what Juan is referring to is a different type of controller setup that at the time we weren't used to.
No.
Traditional games like X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, Marvel versus Capcom 1, you have 6 buttons total, and they're structured as 3 punches. You have a weak, medium, and heavy punch, and then you have a weak kick, medium kick, and a heavy kick. What Marvel vs. Capcom 2 did was they made it a 3-on-3, 3 characters versus 3 characters, and they switched the controller setup to where you had a weak punch, heavy punch, and then what Juan referred to as assist 1, which when you press that button, your backup character would come out momentarily and throw a fireball or do an uppercut or do something, and then they would immediately leave the screen. So they would do what the name implies, which is assist you during the match. And then for the bottom row, you had weak kick, heavy kick, and then your other character. So with this, it implemented a totally new strategy. Because remember, we had played Marvel vs. Capcom 1 where we also had assists, but they were limited. You could only call them a certain amount of times, and once it was done,
Once it was depleted, it was basically a 1v1.
that's it. Yeah,
That's what it devolves down. And then also, what Ken was speaking to is they got rid of the medium punch and the medium kick. It's not in the control scheme. The control scheme. So like, in that case, because if they had included it, we'd essentially have 8 buttons, and there's just no way you navigate 8 buttons, as a player and doing all the inputs that we need to. So
dude, that's crazy. And if you were a heavy Marvel vs. Capcom 1 player, now this is crazy now that I'm thinking about it, is all of that goes out the window.
yeah,
All the execution, your muscle memory with using 6 attack buttons.
Right.
Now you got to learn a whole new system.
Yes.
So walk me through how did that go for you when you made the transition over?
Well, at first when I first played it, I mean, I just couldn't get into it. I didn't like it, so I just didn't play it. And I went back to a Tekken Tag tournament.
shit, man.
I played SNK versus Capcom, the Chaos one,
Nice.
the Bananas one.
Nice one, bro.
That one had
Ken would like that one.
ridiculous combos.
Dude, that's a whole-
That game is. Why does it exist?
SVC Chaos is a ridiculous game.
It's yes, and I liked it, the crazy combos and all that. And there was a scene right there, so there was always 5, 6, 7 players there.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this is what people are playing. Well, let me just play this.
Yeah.
So I was playing that at the time, and as time went by, years went by. I met John, MSP John, also, and he was coming around, and he started playing it also, the SNK versus Capcom, the Chaos one. And I want to say in 2016 he started playing Marvel 2. So he wasn't coming around anymore, and
2016 is far in.
excuse me, 2006. Yes.
2006.
Yeah.
We might have a conflict on dates right there. I used to play at the Montebello Mall. That was like my stomping grounds.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time where it was you, MSP John, and Ricky. You guys showed up to play at that mall. And this is when I was still picking like Jill, Spider-Man, and then I used Magneto as my anchor character. And you guys were already picking like MSP, MSS. Like I remember John did the Hypergrab Tempest on you, and you mashed out like nothing. Like that was something that was always your strength. But this had to have been like late 2005, maybe. Yeah, it had to have been.
It had to be?
It had to have been, because I remember seeing you guys there.
Okay.
And it was a reminder for me, like, dude, there's levels to this. Like, I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Right.
Like, you guys were a prime example of, dude, there's so much that I don't know. Like, these guys are godlike. I mean, I used to think that Dominic was godlike back then, you know?
Okay.
But I do remember seeing you guys there once.
Was I there?
Yeah, it was you, John, and Ricky. This had to have been like late 05.
Late 05, okay.
Late 05, yeah. But John was another guy who had, I mean, he had hands, dude. He was fast. He had execution.
Yeah, him and Ricky were playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Ricky was pretty good even at the time.
Yeah, Ricky was a
Oh,
beast, yeah. What was your team when you first started playing?
It was Jill, Dr. Doom, Sentinel.
I mean, that's not bad.
Good old low tier, huh?
Jill, because I was a Resident Evil fan.
Nice.
Dr. Doom, Marvel superheroes, you couldn't pick him. So I was like, well, he's here. Let me pick him. And Sentinel, I saw that robot and I was, why is he here? Why is he there?
He's big, he's
yeah,
slow.
he's big and he's slow. But I noticed the flying around and I was like, well, that has to be good.
Right,
So-
and I'm assuming he's seeing these other players pick Sentinel, and he's wondering the
Yes.
same thing. Like, wait a minute, but these guys are picking Sentinel for a reason. And then you come to find out all the little intricacies that this character has, and it's completely broken. But
Dude, for the longest time, I could not jump on that bandwagon.
Right.
For
You
the
talked
longest-
about it.
Yeah, for the longest time,
you were like, you just refused to. You're like, this character's cheap or
I
whatever.
felt like he was a crutch. Like if you couldn't,
like if your skills weren't up to par, you would use him to like
use him as a
to
crutch,
get a win.
And
basically.
in some cases, it is true, right? That's why I pick like Shuma, Sentinel, Doom, right? I call it Chaos Dimension.
Yeah.
Because Shuma can only do so much. I mean, he can't really rush you down.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a tri-jump. His normal jump is so, like, he has a high arch, so it takes forever for him to land. I mean, that's why I put, so if he dies, Sentinel comes in and he just picks up the slack.
Wait, so you mean to tell me he doesn't have a tri-jump, but I see you freaking stonewalling everybody
Yeah,
four
he can
times
do
in a
that.
row?
He can do, oh yeah, he can do that, but dude, the recovery time on that is ridiculous.
Of course.
If he'd be able to cancel that move into something else, then he'd be more viable, right?
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. So obviously my next question is the most obvious one is, what made you ditch Jill,
Yeah.
Doom, and get you into what we know you for, and that's Magneto, Cable, Sentinel.
Okay. FFA. So
Family Fun Arcade.
Yep.
I ended up meeting Junior B.
I
It was
remember that name too.
either 2006 or 7. I'll be a little off on the dates, but I think it was probably 2006. And he's the one that introduced me to the arcade scene. And our first stop was FFA. So I went up there and I saw Sue Mighty play.
Nice.
Magneto.
Fuck, bro.
And that Magneto was insane. I was like, whoa. I
this
saw
man.
him there. Neo was there.
Neo.
Neo.
Really? Holy shit. That early on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Neo was there that day. Fanatic, Mega Man DS. Finesse was there too. It was a good day to go to FFA, and they were all playing there.
All the killers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's where I got my first view on Magneto. And I liked him from the get-go. I was
Oh, yeah,
okay,
man.
I gotta pick him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This
gotta
man
pick him.
runs trains through
Oh, yeah.
people, bro.
Yeah.
If you like offense, if you
Yes.
like execution, if you like
Yeah.
hitting buttons, man, Magneto is the character.
And Cable was a character that I always liked. I'm like, he's a shooter. And the Air Hyper Viper Beam, I loved it.
When did you discover that you could loop it? And was that a like moment where you actually wanted to pick the character more because of it?
Oh yeah, especially since you can get 2 out of it if you get that assist.
For those listening, Juan, can you explain what it means to loop it? I guess
Loop the
for
Air
those
Hyper
who
Viper.
aren't familiar with the engine, what does it mean to?
Well, you Tiger Knee, and you get to do multiple Air Hyper Viper Beams.
You can chain them together
Yeah,
essentially.
yes.
So the developers never intended for you to be able to do that. It was just something that players were able to exploit.
But they must have, from what I heard, they discovered it during the testing phases. Did
they?
Yeah, and they left it in.
Wow.
So they did know about it.
I mean, imagine if they had taken that out.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I heard remember how we said that they toned down Shuma?
Oh, Joe Zaza had said
Yeah,
that in that episode. Yeah, that's right. I
He
totally
was
forgot
like-
about that. Yeah.
He was up there.
Could you imagine if they would have taken away the Tiger Knee from
Off cable?
Off cable. You'd
You
probably
would be
still
able
be able
to
to
chain
do
2?
2, maybe 3 if you did the normal jump version. I don't know, man. That's
It's rough. Yeah.
That's-
Maybe if you're really close
Low
down,
enough?
maybe Scimitar.
that's true. Yeah, you still have that.
You have that one.
You still have
and
that.
you can do a third one after by
man.
jumping.
a
We're
little bit,
talking
little bit
about-
of a tighter input there.
Yeah.
Sentinel would be pretty easy since he's a character that.
Yeah.
But he needs that Tiger Knee though.
He
Cable
needs it.
what he has.
Without it, he comes down to top tier, and then Iron Man,
Oh,
in my opinion, moves up
yeah.
to God tier.
Oh, I agree.
Right?
I strongly agree.
Possible meta changer.
And we
with that.
will talk about that. What Jay thinks about how Iron Man has kind of come into his own even more so in recent time, and see
Man,
what he
Iron
thinks
Man.
about the 4 gods,
My
I guess.
God. So we know why you like Magneto. We know why you like Cable, and then we had already talked about Sentinel, right?
Right.
Sentinel complements pretty much any team,
Right.
with his health bar, his drones assist, his rocket punch assist, which is what you're known for.
Yes.
And you put all of that together, and you have a dangerous combination.
And I put that team together without knowing it being a top tier team. I didn't know that people played it. I never saw anyone play it.
That's shocking.
I picked Magneto because I was like, well, that's speed,
Yes.
infinites, and Cable to me was power, Air Hyper Viper Beam, and Sentinel was your defense.
Yeah.
So you kind of compose this as like a well-balanced kind of team.
So I felt like it was a balanced team, and I liked it from the get-go, and I put it
So
together.
you weren't familiar with Rotron,
That's
the
what I'm-
player, at
No.
all?
No.
That's what I wanted to know.
Right.
Wow.
So,
No.
so for our listeners, there's a very OG player named Rotron, and he's what many would consider to be the originator
Yes.
of the creator of that
He
team,
is.
and he made it viable. And that's where you kind of got your moniker from, which is I don't think that you called yourself that. I think people gave you that name, right?
Yes.
Regency Rotron.
Yes.
Regency being the affiliation to RFC, Regency Fun Center Arcade, and then the Rotron obviously in the style of the Rotron the player. You were just from Regency and you used that team. And then later on, I feel like people dropped it, right? People dropped it, and then you became JTron, your own identity, your own flavor to the mix.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what you're universally known as today, right? Not a lot of people know about the whole Regency Rotron part.
Yes.
When did you get to RFC?
2007.
2007?
2007.
Okay. Walk me through how that went.
Junior B took me there, and he was like, hey, this could be your home. You're close to it. It's not too far from you. And there's a scene here. So when I started going, I would go and sit down and watch. I didn't play.
That's cool.
Um,
Sort of like just observing from the sidelines.
yes. I would go and I would watch Rob play. Wes was there, Dorian, Black Juan, and just observe the game the way these guys were playing, because I couldn't play like that at the time.
Damn.
So I felt like it wasn't, there was no point for me to drop a quarter down in there and play. I wasn't going to do anything. So I wanted to see them play and learn off of them.
When did you start playing though? Because obviously you couldn't stay on the sidelines forever.
No. I want to say maybe like 2 months after, I went a few times and would just watch.
Because 07 was when I got there, and you were already, like, you had already picked up quick on how to, make right decisions and kill characters and stuff like that.
Well, I want to say I did learn the game pretty quick, but I never had the combos down. I was good at mashing, so that's why I was able to get out of Hypergrab Tempest. But execution-wise, I wasn't very good. Because when I started going there, I lost a lot. There was a lot of losing involved to everyone.
With anyone's journey.
You had, RFC back then with just the people that you named, dude, that's a heavy talent pool.
Yeah.
Back then, the cliques, the regulars, dude, you had some strong people in there. Even with the people that you mentioned at FA, Sue Mighty, Finesse, just those two guys alone were beasts. At RFC, Wes and Dorian are probably the top two at the time, right?
Absolutely.
These guys knew what they were doing. They knew how to finish you off quick.
Oh, yeah.
And two completely different styles of playing. Dorian being more offensive, and then Wes obviously playing the defense part, right?
Fundamentally.
So, dude, you had the best of both worlds there.
Oh, yeah.
To learn from.
Oh, yeah.
So what kind of brings about Jay's, like, your practice and, like, getting the execution that you said that you thought you lacked at the time? Like,
Well, I started learning the game there, and I would watch people play and their hands.
Nice.
Ricky was one of the players along with John. I saw how they would ROM, and they were sliding.
Oh, okay. So for the viewers that don't know, that there's two different techniques in doing ROM. One of them is a slide technique where you take your fingers and you literally slide from the punch position, which is going to give you your dash, to the kicks. And then you have claw method, which I prefer, and I think is more of just, you just hold your hand where your thumb is where the kick is, and then your index finger and your middle finger is going to be where your dash is. So those are the two.
Claw is better.
Yeah, in my opinion.
I would say so.
In my opinion, bro.
I tried learning it, and I was getting it down, but I refused to claw. And I said, no, I want to slide. I just think it looks crazy.
Dude,
I just want to slide. So I didn't care.
I used to slide too when I
And
learned Magneto.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I never did, bro.
it's if you want to do the Magneto Infinite, you have to either do the slide or you have to claw. You cannot manually dash. Maybe you can. I think Combo Fiend was the only guy who was able to do it that I would see, and I've seen him play, and I would see him manually dash and then hit a short, the low kick right afterwards. Mm-hmm. But you had to choose one of the two, right?
Yes.
So I started sliding, and I had way too many dropped inputs, or I would hit roundhouse on accident.
Yeah.
And so I had to switch to claw, and then that's what I've been doing ever since.
Claw is better.
I just think, as time progresses, I think as you progress as a player and you're getting different variations of ROM, I still think claw is superior. But
yeah, sliding might be faster though. You might get a faster tri jump.
Sure.
With the slide, but it's ultimately what you're comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as you can land it consistently,
yeah,
that's all that matters.
Do you remember any tournaments happening around that time when you showed up to RFC?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, well, before I started entering the tournaments, I didn't know anybody there outside of MSP John and Ricky a little bit.
Like an inner clique.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So because everybody had small cliques in there, you could say. And so I started showing up a little earlier when there was nobody around, and I started putting my quarters in there and just trying to get used to, comfortable with the sticks and practicing, because that's the only way I practiced the game was at Regency. Everything I know that you see on a DC was learned at Regency.
You never had the game at home?
No.
I was going to ask that if you had a Dreamcast.
No.
Wow. That's
we
crazy.
can get to that first time on Dreamcast Play later.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to like this one because...
Can't wait, dude. My mouth is watering so bad.
My first experience on DC wasn't the best. But, so I started learning the game there. my execution, and I learned everything on my own. I didn't really have anyone,
teach it to you.
Yes, I didn't have anyone
same
tell
way.
me anything. I learned it all on my own. I figured it out. If there's anyone I can thank, it would be Preppy. His videos, they helped a lot. I went through all of them and just studied them.
Studied the game,
so
bro.
they do this, And
You were watching combo videos or match footage?
match footage.
Nice.
I'm not very good at watching combo videos. I'm more about matches. So I learned a lot from his YouTube channel. It was very helpful to me in understanding situations, matches,
Yeah.
all that.
The next question is obviously, well, not obviously, but it's going to be a very pivotal question. Okay. Do you remember, or can you pinpoint a moment where you realized, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I can compete with these guys. I'm at their level or above. And I don't mean like you're better than everybody else. I mean,
Right.
like I can
You
take some
saying
games.
just hanging in there with
I
them?
can take some games off of
you
these
can
guys.
hang now.
Yeah.
I want to say 2009.
Okay.
I was able to start getting wins off of everyone, at least here and there. Players like Rob and Wes were always a big problem. I couldn't beat those guys. Same thing with Dorian. But I started getting a match here and there.
Oh man, such a good feeling.
And I was like, okay, well, it'll come around.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, as time goes by, I'm pretty sure I'll get better.
That's an incredible feeling.
And I want to say it was 2009 where I started playing a little better on the game. And I started entering the tournaments, I want to say around 2008. But I was getting knocked out all the time. Robert being my kryptonite, I'm going to say.
Regency Rob.
Yeah, dude, that guy, Ricky came up to me one time and he was like, you keep losing to Rob. And I'm like, well, damn, this looks like a setup. I keep bumping into him.
To rig the brackets.
Yeah, So, but 2009, I started getting better and better. And as time went by, I got better in the game.
Well, 2008, I want to say 2008 is when I first started going there.
Mm-hmm.
And I
couldn't beat you.
Dude, I mean, remember, I picked up Sentinel in early 2007. And when I say picked up, I mean, I started picking him in training mode.
Yeah, you labbed him for a year, bro.
And I labbed him for a year.
Oh.
Like a full year.
Curated
of just,
Sentinel, bro.
Okay, sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3. Like just doing combos, or resets. And then it wasn't until 2008 when I got to Regency that I started actually using MSS. And I used MSS drones.
Yeah.
And people were saying like, no, MSS Rocket Punch is better. And I was like, well, this kind of feels better to me, right? But I do remember playing you. And
Yes.
like the struggle for me was because I was still trying to piece together what to do in a match to get myself to what I wanted to do combo wise. Like I had the combos down, I just didn't have the opportunity to do them, right?
Okay.
That's why like in a real match you don't really see a lot of long sequences. It's just a quick burst of like you for instance with Mag Rocket Punch, you're not going to do a long combo. You're going to 5 fears.
Yeah, we're going for the damage.
You're going for the damage
Yes.
because if you don't do it, your opponent's going to do it to
Yes.
you. And I didn't understand that. Like this is my own learning process.
Okay, that's very true.
Because that's why I was losing a lot. Because instead of launching you in the corner and doing, I don't know, jab, rocket punch, going for the unblockable sequence, I was trying to fast fly and knock you down, and the pixel, the damage isn't adding up.
The damage scale is
You
not.
know,
the
it's
same.
not
Too
as-
high now, yeah.
So I was losing, man. I was losing to you. I was losing to Dorian, to Rob, to Wes. Like, my money is just disappearing. You know what I mean? Can you point out an initial rivalry that you had at Regency where you're like, damn, I need to this guy has my number? Like you mentioned Rob, right? But did you ever feel the need to, I don't know, call him out?
No, I don't, because I felt like I've lost to everyone when I started off, and when I got better, well, I was able to get wins off of everyone. But as far as a rivalry, I want to say Rob was the one that beat me the most.
I mean, you kind of had your moments where, like we talked about the MSP John situation, because money's involved and you're putting quarters in and shit like that. If your money starts disappearing, I can only imagine the salt levels are going to be higher than usual, right?
Right.
So somebody might make a comment, or they might tell you, "Hey, man, like, hey, dude, you're a family guy. Well, you shouldn't even be here, bro."
That was John. That was John. Yeah.
And I remember I was there, dude. Like, you beat John, and he got so salty that he told you, like, "Hey, man, don't you have a kid on the way? You should be home, bro."
Well, the thing is that some players, when they're beating you, and all of a sudden you start coming around and you get better, and you take them out, well, they're not happy with that.
Dude, and I'm in the back. I'm just eating my wings, from next door. I'm just like, God damn, son.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, well, I mean, sooner or later, I am going to get better if I keep insisting.
Exactly. Persistence and determination.
Nobody likes a change in the rankings, right?
That's right.
Especially when you're the one that's being knocked down a peg or two.
Yes.
It's a pretty bad feeling.
Oh, how the tables turn.
Dude. But for us, that we were still kind of in the same boat of learning the game and learning what decisions to make, and you can see the results happening. Like you said, you didn't have the game at home. You're investing in yourself by showing up early, practicing whatever you have to do, and now you're seeing the results. And the people that used to beat you are now in the rearview mirror. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's always been a good feeling.
Yes.
Not just in the arcade, but also in tournaments, money matches. Oh, dude,
And once you start earning those W's, it drives you for more. You want more.
That's why they call it crack, bro.
Yes.
That's right.
That's why this game is fucking crack.
Yes.
The flame just starts igniting, bro, and you just want to take more bodies. This is how it is.
Here's my next question. What was it like leveling up at Regency and then going to other arcades? James Games, Family Fun. Now let's revisit those old spots now.
Oh, wow.
How do you, because we talked about it during the Joe Zaza episode, and it's, you want to test yourself within your group of friends.
Yes.
And then you want to move towards, let's say, your local arcade. And then once you've dominated that spot, you want to move to a different spot. And then you want to go national, right? Like
test yourself.
Like at an Evo or something like that.
Right.
So you're at the spot now where you kind of know where you stand with the arcade, and now you want to move to...
And I improved.
Let me see what's going on at James Games, or let me see what's going on at FFA. How did that go?
Well, I started going at FFA, and there was tournaments there also. I would enter a couple wins here and there. I mostly get knocked out, but it's part of the learning process of the game. So I did do my traveling. I did FFA, James Games a couple of times, not too much.
Sticks were incredibly different, though, James Games.
Okay.
Because that was where I kind of got started before I moved to RFC and Family Fun. When I went back to James Games, I realized that they were like the springs were super responsive, like where you let it go back to neutral and it would kind of flick around a little bit. So if you're used to RFC sticks and then you go to James Games, your movement is going to be all fucked up because you're used to a certain tension. You know what I mean? In my experience, anyway.
And that's another thing. Sticks were always an issue.
At Regency?
Not Regency, but just outside of that. Like FFA, I hated those controllers.
You hated them?
Alex Arcade was another place. I did not like those sticks. I had to find a way to play, to get by, you could say.
Well, dude, Cable, for instance, you doing his uppercut into super, that's a whole beast in itself. Like I struggle with that. For all the reflies that I do and everything that I do, for me to do dragon punch into super is, I always drop it. So if you're used to a stick like at RFC and then you try to do it like at FFA and it doesn't come out and it costs you the match.
Oh yeah, that ground super.
And for those that don't know, I mean, when you do a ground super with cable, I mean, you have an eternity to get punished. So it's unsafe.
Yeah, you leave your, and if the other person knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
you're fucking
You're
done,
done.
bro.
Yeah, that cable's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that to take into consideration. Okay, so I want to hear about Dreamcast though. So what was your experience like with Dreamcast?
Okay, so my first experience on Dreamcast was with you.
What?
Yes. You and Infrit invited me along with Prodigy. Remember him?
Yeah, barely.
You guys invited me over.
Where was this?
In a garage. I think it was Infrit's house or
Prodigy's house.
I don't remember which one it was. And I did not know you guys played on Dreamcast. I didn't know that. This was maybe 2009?
Yeah,
I wanna say.
2009.
Jesus.
It had to have been.
And you were filling me in. It's like, hey, it's 2 out of 3. We take turns. There's a chair. Sticks right there. Hop on. So I went in there and I couldn't do it.
What?
The game felt so different to me.
Really?
It does feel different though.
To me, arcade and Dreamcast are very different.
There are
For me.
differences. Yeah.
I know some people
Yep.
maybe it's not as much.
No,
But
I've always felt
yeah.
it.
To
bro.
me, it was very, very different. I feel like arcade is very smooth,
Yeah.
and DC is
Slow.
fast. You know, Magneto's on crack on DC. He's fast.
Yeah.
Sentinel.
Sentinel feels different, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, back then, you had to. I mean, the only option that you really had was a MOS stick, right?
Yes.
We were still in the era of just using a MOS. The H-Tech, like the Green Goblin that I use, was still around, but using a stock one, like this is before Sanwa, and this is before you could order these parts and shit like that, like these upgraded, higher quality parts. The H-Techs weren't being used. Nobody was using that,
Right.
right?
Right.
You had to use a MOS, and that was the equivalent. That was like bringing the arcade home, right?
Oh yeah.
Using the American bat top and those buttons. But the same thing applies. What kind of spring is in there? What buttons are in there? And can you use it? You know. So for you, it didn't work out because
No.
it wasn't just the stick; it was the game itself. Yeah, there are some differences in there.
No, I hated it.
Yeah.
And after that, I didn't play on it again
No
until
way.
Evo 2010 because it was the only way they were playing. That was my first Evo.
Yeah, that was the last year that that Marvel 2 was on the Evo main stage, and they used PSN, PS3. What did you use for that tournament? As far as stick?
Oh, I didn't enter the tournament.
Oh,
There was no reason for me to enter.
Oh,
I
that's
had no experience on console. So I just went to watch.
I mean, let alone PS3. It's even worse.
this is something that we talked about. We actually just had a session at Thrillas, and Daryl World Matchu, we were talking about this on stream, and Daryl was making the argument that we could easily switch over to Xbox 360 or PS3 for our tournaments. That the system is more reliable, and playing offline, there's no slowdown. The counter argument is that may be true. There are still some differences in the engine, just
for
like
sure.
there is from arcade to DC. There still are some differences, and on top of that, you're going to have to convince our community to get a stick or get an adapter that can accommodate that change.
That's right.
And some of these guys aren't going to want to do it. I mean, are you going to want to go online? I mean, it's going to take a lot of, whoever's trying to advocate for this. Like Daryl would have to go in there and say, hey, this is the link. This is where you buy this. This is where you buy that. And you're going to have to order the parts, and maybe you might have to assemble a few things. And now a lot of us may not want to do that. I feel like that would be the challenge. I don't know how you
for
guys
sure.
feel about that.
No, for sure. There's a commitment there that needs to be done in order for this change to happen.
And I'm not saying not just buy a new stick, but buy something that can respond well, because not all PCBs or motherboards are created
correct.
equal. Some of them, I'm sure you played on a stick that has input delay. You
Yes, I have.
you hit a punch or you hit a kick, and the input comes out a
response
split
is
second
different.
later, and that response can make the difference between you winning or losing.
That's right.
Especially in a high level setting.
That's right.
That's another thing to take into consideration. So
Yes.
now, I mean, Ricky, for example, showed up yesterday to the session and he didn't have a stick. So if we switch over to like PS3 or Xbox, I mean, some of these guys don't have sticks anyway. It's like another hurdle to jump over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I can see how that would have been frustrating, dude. You're used to arcade timing, and then you switch over to DC, and you just get your shit blown up.
It was hard for me. The switch was hard for me, but I also thought about it, and I said, this is where they play now. And most importantly, I felt that if I learned how to play on DC, I'd have my own equipment. And that's important, to have your own stick instead of playing in random arcade sticks. You have your own equipment.
The era of DC sessions, if we're talking 2009, I mean, we're already way into the Evo era, right? It's almost like the Twilight era. It was already on its way out. The MOS sticks were becoming obsolete. Now people were dual modding sticks, and the Japanese style sticks were coming into play. And I know that you switched over to Japanese at one point, right?
Yes, I did.
I fought back so much on that, on switching over to Japanese, until I started playing online, and I thought, oh man, this is great. Like I would only use American at tournaments. Yeah. So I'm like playing on Japanese, and then I'd switch over to American. I still did okay, right? I still won or whatever, but that was a pain in the ass, dude, to carry that MOS stick around. Especially in Vegas, you know, you're walking from fucking point A to point B. The convention center's like all the way on the other side, and you're just carrying your
lugging
shit
around with this thing.
What a bitch, dude. When did you get used to DC then?
It was right after that Evo. I started playing, going to people's houses, playing on random sticks, but at least I was getting more comfortable with the engine, just playing it in general.
You went to Evo 2009, right?
No,
you didn't.
2010 was my first Evo.
2010.
2009, I heard about Evo. I didn't know Evo was a thing. I know the guys went in 2008. I believe that's when Wes got top 5.
I believe so.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe so. And they went and they talked about Evo, and I was like, well, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, for us it was like a whole different.
I didn't know what that
world.
was. So I know they talked about it, and they said it was in Vegas, and I thought they played on arcade. That's how much I didn't know about Evo. And but yeah, after 2010, I started grinding it on DC because it seemed like that was the direction the game was taking, and arcades was no longer a thing.
Yeah, it's becoming obsolete.
Quick note on Evo. For me, it always boggled my mind how people were, especially like in our age at that time, were able to afford to go. And I was under the assumption that everybody flew there, everybody had their own room. I didn't realize that people were like cramming into rooms like fucking sardines, you know? Like you had a one bed bedroom at Circus, and it's like 6 guys in there.
Oh man.
With fucking BO.
Jeez.
But hey, dude, you do what you gotta do, right? To go to Evo.
Fuck, dude.
That is one thing that always kind of bothered me was having, had somebody ask to use your stick.
Oh yeah.
That bugged the shit out of me. It happened a couple of times that I would let somebody borrow it, and then a button would go out afterwards.
Yeah.
And now my match is on hold. Like, hey, hold on, dude, I gotta go get a new button or get this shit. And this is before quick disconnects. So my shit's soldered on. So I'd have to take it to the table and be like, hey man, can you just solder it on real quick? You know what I mean? It was just a different time.
Yeah.
But that's ancient history, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 2011, Alex's Arcade jumps onto the scene.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, walk me through your experience with these guys, because now this is a whole different beast. Now we had gone from the James Games crew, which had kind of dissipated. You know, like Mike Khaos wasn't as active. Ruben kind of stepped away from the game. FFA guys had kind of moved on to Marvel 3, right?
I was there on the last day of FFA,
Yeah, me too.
and there was a tournament.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I do remember because I won that tournament.
Yeah. And there was also a 2-on-2. Do you remember that
A 2-on-2
Enlighten
money
us,
match?
Jay.
tournament?
Enlighten us, Jay.
Yeah, because didn't I win that tournament? But I
think
entered.
you won the singles.
No, because I entered myself
Oh,
twice.
you went double. Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't know how
and
that
you
happened.
beat David Lee and Dark Prince.
I beat David Lee and Dark Prince, and I beat Mega Man DS and Fnatic. And I remember I beat Fnatic so bad that I said something along the lines of, "Oh my God, this is so free." And I said it out loud, and then he kind of just popped off, like in the back, like, "Man, are you sponsored? Are you sponsored? Man, you need to get a life, bro."
Was that 2011?
2012 was the last.
2012.
Yeah, that was the last. That was the year that FFA closed
Me
down.
and Ivan got third in that one.
Yeah. But I mean, Fnatic in himself was always. He was always the FFA grimy dirtbag of that scene.
Yeah, he was. When I was learning the game, and this is grimy from his end. So he saw my game and he knew I wasn't good. So he went up to me and asked me if I wanted to money match him. So what he would do is he would let me win a couple of games. And I was like, well, I can squeeze a few games off of him. Yeah, sure, let's go. And he would say first to 3 for 5. So I would win 2, and I would get scraped for 3. And I played a few of them, and my kid's mom was in the back. And she comes up to me, and she's like, haven't you noticed you're winning 2, but you're getting destroyed the other 3? I was like, this guy's hustling me, man.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I was like, he is. And I mean, I couldn't ROM very well at the time. I mean, I had trouble just doing a hypergrab Tempest, and this guy just knew the game. He knew how to do a lot of things that I couldn't. And he got me.
Yeah, I mean, they say don't knock the hustler, right?
Yeah.
Don't knock the hustler. But the opinion is still there, and that's that. Like for me, Lauren will always be a shitbag in my book. Like always.
It's yours and many others.
Many
from what
others. So
I've
I mean, I
heard.
speak for myself, and
Right.
this is my opinion, and
Right.
I speak it freely. But he was. There were a couple of moments, a couple of hype moments that involved him, but for the most part, I feel he was very detrimental to the community, more deconstructive than constructive. But that's as much as I'd like to go in about that dirtbag.
And yeah, that OBD I don't respect.
One button dash.
No,
That's
I don't.
right.
No, I don't.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
can of worms in itself. Because you didn't have a lot of pad players back then.
No.
Right.
Yeah. Going back to Alex's Arcade, okay, they had a clique of guys, some who were still kind of learning. We did have a couple of standouts from there, and you had Gustavo, who was almost like the equivalent of execution, like for when it came to Sentinel, like he had the execution, but he lacked certain fundamentals. He had the speed, he had the moves, but he couldn't apply it in a high level setting, right?
That guy was very good.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah.
The things he does on the game, Magneto and Sentinel, he's very good. I always respected him. I just wish that talent would have translated to tournament.
Right.
Or when it mattered the most, the moment.
For sure.
He just couldn't.
Yeah.
And he's one of those players that I'm always like, damn.
It's
You know?
like Magnetro's done very well in recent years. He just won NEC. No, was it NEC or was it Frosty Faustings? He beat Justin Wong in the finals.
Wow.
He swept them. This was a couple months ago, or last month.
It was
recently.
December. It was in December, bro.
Yeah, he swept them. So Magnetro's always been really good. It's just he focused more on the spectrum of what the engine can do and exploiting it and see, what kind of combos are possible.
I want to say that's what Gustavo is.
And that's what Gustavo's doing right now. And he actually still hits me up to this day. He'll send me a clip or send me an idea and see if he can do anything with this, and we'll kind of dissect it and talk about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. For some people, it's more about what you can do.
But I do want to say something. You're missing out on the competitive
aspect.
Yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
The feeling you get when you win a tournament or when you beat these great players, it's like no other.
On the other side of that coin, you have somebody like Andy Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now Andy Doom is a guy who doesn't have the flashy combos, but he has the fundamentals.
That's right.
Whether
Yeah.
you like him or you don't like
I
him,
agree. Whether you like him,
he's
or not.
got the moves to take you out.
And from what I've always seen, even like for Andy, like when he plays, like he has a killer's mentality. He's there to just kill you. He doesn't care like it has to be flashy or anything. Andy, when he's on, he's good.
He's confident.
That's one of the biggest assets.
And he's down too.
Yes, that's one of the biggest assets that I think Andy has is confidence. You don't see that in many players in terms of like, you'll see people kind of get nervous, the nerves of like the whole tournament and like bigger matches. But Andy does have that. Like he's very confident about himself. Win or lose, he's still like, it's very hard to like rock him.
Do you know where that confidence comes from?
Where?
It's repetition, reps. It's thousands and thousands of matches, along with the people that he surrounds himself with, or surrounded himself with at the time, which was Dewey,
That's right.
Andy MSP, Gustavo, Gala, Oscar, and it's playing against these guys, and he's being put in situations where he has to make split-second decisions.
That's right.
Just like we all do, right? But it's because of these reps that he's able to make split-second decisions more easily and with less pressure. Sometimes you get the pressure of, I don't know, landing an unblockable. And for him, he's done it so many times that
And he's good.
That is second nature to him. Like in training mode, I don't practice unblockables, bro.
Yeah.
That's why I suck at them. Like if I do fierce roundhouse on the way down and wait for you to get up and I do the crouching laser, I don't practice that. He's hit so many of them that he can land them on Sentinel.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like that is something that you have to respect.
Yes.
And what Andy Doom did was he came over to Regency and he was more. He like Dewey never put himself out there. Andy MSP never really put himself out there. They were more kind of reserved. They wanted to play and test themselves, but Andy Doom was the guy that would call you out and talk some shit.
Oh yeah.
And hey man, let's play for $20. Fuck yeah.
It was always like that. I have countless money matches with that guy. Too many, I would say.
Yeah. So how did those go?
I won most of them. He got me as well. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't lose to these guys. I lost to everybody in that arcade too. Shout outs to all of them, all those Alex arcade heads, because they're good players too. I learned a lot from them also.
One thing to commend them on also is they like to talk a lot of shit, right? Amongst themselves.
Yeah.
But there is a feeling of camaraderie and unity between those guys.
For sure.
And that's something that you like to see. I mean, every arcade kind of had that. Like Regency had it, FFA had their guys, whatever. James Games as well. So it's always cool to see that feeling of like a bond.
Yeah, for sure.
And those guys play against each other.
Yeah, constantly.
That's crazy. I couldn't do that with my Regency boys. We didn't play money matches like that. They go hard.
That is
and
true.
And they side bet and they get mad at each other. and they
It's a love-hate relationship.
yes,
Huh?
yes, I seen
That is true, man.
Rudy and Andy Doom talk shit to each other, and I'm just like,
But these guys took the gambling to a whole nother level.
They really did.
Yeah,
Stipulations,
And-
giving games.
their setup is like, are you playing for money? Oh, you can't play here.
That is true. Yeah,
That's literally
they
what it comes
did.
down
They
Yes.
did start the money match station.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If
But,
it's not
I
for
mean-
money, kick rocks, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I lost to a lot of those guys. Even Akuma, the first time I played him, I couldn't beat him.
Yeah, Akuma had
He
Akuma
beat
had a very interesting
Dexterous
style.
too.
I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember
Ricky
that,
was
yeah.
pissed.
I remember that day because he beat Ricky on Alex's arcade sticks, and then I hopped on and I beat Akuma, and Ricky said something like, "Oh, this is so free. Oh, this is so free." And then Akuma turned around and he said, "Oh, you mean like you, right?" And everybody was just going wild, you know, throwing tokens up in the air and shit. But
That's funny.
that was a whole nother vibe in itself. Like it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, they're different, bro.
every arcade, bro. Every arcade had its own kind of atmosphere,
Yes.
and that's the atmosphere with the AA guys. Is this is how we keep things interesting, even though we're not doing high level shit or whatever it is. This is how we kind of we make these games mean something.
Yeah.
Like the Regency guys, not to cut you off, the Regency guys never played for money, like you said.
Not within each other.
Not within each other?
Not really.
But the matches always meant something. Like if you that's why you had 5 or 6 quarters up at a time.
Yes.
Because that streak, like the longer the streak that you had, the more it meant, oh shit, man, this guy, he's kind of onto something here. You know,
Yes.
like I got a couple of sodas in my heyday, right? At Regency, if you got 20 wins, you'd get.
I did too. I got a couple of them, but it was thanks to Blade.
Oh my god, dude. There was a guy, for our listeners, there was a guy who used to show up to Regency and he had the Wesley Snipes Blade haircut, so we'd call him Blade.
Yes.
But he also had glasses, so we'd call him Steve Urkel.
And a lunch bag full of quarters. He
Oh,
would carry them
yeah.
in a sandwich bag.
And he was kind of an older guy too, huh?
Yes.
Like he was already in his 40s
Yes.
or whatever.
His wife would sometimes go pick him up.
Every arcade had one, dude.
And he wouldn't give up. And when he would get a character off of you, he gave you a pose.
He did. Oh my god, he did. He would like give you a double bicep shot or like a dab or some shit like that.
When he would connect the weapon X with the Wolverine, he gave you the X.
Oh, he gave you the X, right? I'd be like, what are you doing, dude? I'd just stomp him out with Sentinel right after. Get out of here. Go get it.
There are players like that, man.
Yeah. But just because, so this is 2011, so this is right after Evo had already closed its doors on Marvel 2, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
just because they closed their doors, we figured out a way to kind of keep things going.
The side thing.
I mean, Regency, we would still, things are starting to die down, right? Like the day to go would be Wednesdays or Fridays. And things kind of started to die down. Like we weren't really going to Regency as often. A lot of people were moving on to Marvel 3 or Street Fighter 4.
DC sessions.
DC sessions. If you weren't cool enough, you weren't invited.
That's true.
You know,
Yes.
so the click thing, was still happening, unfortunately. But
Yes.
we had to deal with it. You never made the jump to play online.
No.
What happened with that?
I have a hard time playing at home. I'm not the training mode player. I've always felt for me it was matches that would improve my game.
I agree with that.
And yeah, I couldn't play at home, and the online I kept hearing it wasn't the same. So I felt, well, why bother with it if it's not the same? It's not a DC.
Right.
And I enjoy more DC sessions because you have, your friends and
And the interactions.
the
that you-
interactions.
that you have
and,
with the player.
you have your opponent next to you.
Yeah.
And at home, and it just didn't feel the same for me. I did try it at Ray's house, Spartan.
Yeah.
He had Xbox Live, and it was cool, but it wasn't for me. I just couldn't do the online game. I couldn't.
It goes without saying that this game requires a lot of dedication, a lot of investing, bro.
Yeah, I do want to say I worked very hard on this game. a lot.
Countless
a lot,
hours.
Yes.
It's a lot of time and it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of money. And for us that we came from the arcade era,
Yeah.
dude, we're talking. I used to think about it every so often, like, how much money have I spent on this
man.
fucking game, dude? I mean, on average, I'd spend like $10 just in Marvel. Like, I could have bought the game. I could have bought my own setup and just played at home. But I chose to go to the arcade and just waste my money there.
Yeah, I spend a lot of money at Regency, man.
Did you ever find yourself where in a position where you felt like the game was starting to affect your personal life? Because it happened to me.
Yes, it did. It did affect me because the game requires time. And me having a family at the time, yes, there was problems to the point where, you know, I had to separate. It came to that. You know, there was other problems too. It wasn't just that, but yeah, it is. You know, Marvel 2 requires a lot of your time, dedication, your focus.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's something that's kind of a pet peeve of mine, and it's when you have somebody who picks a top tier team, like we'll say Thrax, right? Like Thrax or I don't know, Blackheart, something that's top tier. Let's say they play online, and you beat them, and they say, "Oh, I don't take the game seriously." If I took the game seriously, things would be different.
Is this online?
This is online, yeah.
Okay.
But you see these players online all the time,
Grinding it.
grinding it. Yeah, it's a big pet peeve of mine. It's like a pre-built excuse, yeah. So we know what it is, right? We took it seriously because we felt like there was something to build off of this. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I've built somewhat of a legacy for myself with this game.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah. I didn't, like, I'll dabble with Street Fighter 4, right, or other games
For
just
sure.
for fun, recreationally. But with Marvel 2, I felt like I had the opportunity to, etch put my mark on the fighting game community. Now, more people know who I am, right? It's not a flex, but it was a personal journey for myself. Like you want to leave this life doing something. I mean, some people don't give a shit, right? But you want to leave this life with a legacy. I've always said, I pick this up, and I tell it to people, is they say that you die twice. You experience death twice. The first, when you die, and the second, when somebody says your name or thinks about you for the last time. And that's why a lot of people like to write their memoirs or autobiography, because through the letter, you survive. There's a lot of books that were written back in the days. I mean, if you look at Shakespearean works, which is another topic in itself, they're still being read today. The plays are still being acted out today, you know.
And he's remembered.
So with me, even though this is just a video game, right, to a lot of people, it's still my way of making my mark, you know.
I feel like you already left that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And why we do this podcast also, Juan, is to create that same legacy for all of us, dude. All of us that have
Paying
put in
homage
work.
to them.
We've traveled. We've invested time. We've invested money. We've made challenges. We've won tournaments. You know what I mean? Like, we've all had the spotlight at one point or another. But this is more to kind of like give you a chance to tell your story and bring awareness to what you did, because I feel like we deserve it, right? At the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we deserve it. This is work, and our accomplishments might be brushed under the rug for whatever reason, right? But I don't know. That's my whole.
They won't be
Sure.
forgotten through these
through the podcast, right? And a lot of people who comment, they something will trigger, and they'll say, "Oh shit, I remember that day," and they'll put in their comments and they'll add to the story, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
Because I can't bring everybody on here, right? But
That's
at least the people who are listening will remember, "Oh shit, I forgot about that. Oh, did you guys know that also?" And they'll add to that, and I think that's a great way to reach out, extend our branches out to the community.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that's my rant on that. Going back to you, when I played you originally at RFC, we were still kind of like even level or whatever. I started to pull ahead a little bit, and it was during 2011, 2012, where you kind of you closed the gap for sure. Like, you had already closed the gap, and for me, I was one of those guys that I didn't want to see a change in the ranks. I was used to, and the same goes with Ray. Like, Ray started taking me out. I lost to Reset I don't know how many times. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't invincible at all by any means, and I had to make my own changes. But what I'm leading this up to is Evo 20. Not Evo. I want to know about SoCal Regionals 2014.
Oh.
Because now you're testing yourself against somebody.
Yes.
Somebody who has also built a resume, and now it's your turn to really test yourself. And of course, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about Neo.
Neo.
Walk me through how it led up to that moment where you guys sat down and you did a first to 10.
Okay, so I challenged him in a set, in a money match. And the deal was that if I was going to place a bet with you and on that set between you and Justin. And he was like, well, hey, how about I take that bet, and on top of that, we run a set. And I was like, sure, that sounds like a plan to me. What kind of bothered me was the messages through Facebook. You know, him claiming that I wouldn't beat him, that I had no shot against him.
Oh, you guys had an exchange?
Yes.
Okay.
And this was through Facebook Messenger on my old account. And he claimed I had no chance against him, and that he was playing with Justin Wong and Bill Wellman, I believe it was. So they were practicing.
They were practicing for me.
Yes.
It was the year that I played Wong, and Bill Wellman came out of the shadows to practice with Justin. I didn't know about this until the day of.
Yes.
So Justin had done his homework.
Yes. And he told me I had no shot. And I was like, okay, well, there's only one way to find out. And
Oh my
that's
God, I
by
got
playing.
chills, dude.
Yeah.
And that's by playing. So we agreed to that. I made the side bet on you with him. And after the set, well, he looked like he was a little concerned about it, because he knew that I was getting better on the game too. And I was kind of hunting him down at SoCal Regionals. Hey, I'm like, hey, you ready to play? Are you ready to play? And he was like, yeah. He was busy, I guess, doing other things at the tournament too. So we ended up playing. And this was in a room, I believe. I don't recall whose room it was.
Oh, man, you know.
But I know you were there.
I was there. I don't know if I was there for the whole thing.
Chris
was
Schmidt was there.
Yeah.
Daryl was there. World.
Yeah.
World was there. His brother was there too. The Regency guys, the crew that came with me. And we played the set.
Before we go into the results,
Oh.
was there anything that you feel could have affected Neo negatively in terms of equipment?
Well, he switched sticks. I believe it was. He played on 3 different controllers.
For that set?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Why would he do that?
He was having trouble with the controllers. He wasn't able to execute.
Yeah. Neo had a stick that he called the Bruce Lee stick.
Yeah.
And I was under the impression that was his.
Yes.
But then he stopped. I don't know if he sold it or he got rid of it, but
I believe Justin played on that one, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think he
But
did actually.
This is
I think
why
he did.
this is
Justin
why
played
it's
on
so
that.
important to have your equipment and make sure that it's working good.
Yeah.
What was the score?
The score was 10-1.
What?
It was first to 10 for 200.
10-1?
Yes.
Wow.
What was the first thing that he said after the set?
He did say good games, but he wanted a run back right there and then. And I wanted to run it back with him, and Ivan convinced me. He said, no, take this W home, let him hold that.
I remember that.
And Ivan was like, why should you play him again? The score was 10-1. But in my mind, I was like, well, if I can win that second set, I get my money back that I lost.
Oh my God,
You
dude.
know, but
Of course.
Ivan did convince me, and he wanted to leave. He was like, no, let's go. No, he wanted to leave. And so I told him that we can run it back another time. We never ran another first to 10, but we did play after that multiple first to fives,
casual.
first to
Man,
sevens.
dude. Now that was a rivalry that never had any spotlight between you and Neo.
Yeah, I would say so.
It was never made, to a level of high public awareness. Neo's counter to that was that he had already played you and beaten you in smaller sets.
He did,
and
FFA.
that the matches themselves had added up. That he had more W's than that set alone. I mean, that was kind of like
Well, you have to remember, I played him at FFA, and I would lose to him because he was just a better player. I wasn't very good at the time.
Right.
And I couldn't keep up with him. So, I mean, I was taking L's left and right. And little small money matches, too, that I would play him because I was always down for them because I felt like that was a way for me to learn. In order to get those jitters out the way, I felt like a money match was good for me. So I've lost a lot to him, too, in the FFA days, and maybe that's what he means by that.
Yeah. Did you guys ever run it back, another first attempt?
Not a first to 10, no. And I actually wanted a 15, but that was not a thing for him. And I wanted the 15 because I saw what this guy did to all my boys at RFC.
So it was like a way to get retribution
That's
back.
true.
I mean, yes.
Get it back for the boys.
In a way, you kind of did without the high profile setting.
Right, because you had to remember it's not a high stake. It wasn't a high stake or anything. It was just a little money involved. But to me, it counted either way.
Right.
I wanted to.
But I mean, that score says a lot.
But yeah, but I witnessed this man come to Regency, and the way he beat Dorian. He beat Black Juan.
He beat Wes.
He beat Wes.
He beat Dara.
Okay, we're not even gonna. That doesn't count. He beat him twice. Look, man.
This guy's name was Confusion.
Oh my God, Dara. Dara believed that he could beat Neo, and we all told him, "No, you can't. What are you thinking? You can't beat Neo. No way. You have no chance." No, I could beat him. We went to FFA, and he just mopped the floor with him. Me and Jose, remember little combo fiend?
What happened to that guy?
He went a little MIA. He has a family now. I believe he's doing really good.
Yeah.
He has his kid and all
Little
that.
combo fiend?
Oh yeah, he has his little child, and so he's
I
doing
remember
good.
playing him too.
Dude, he was godlike at third strike.
Oh yes.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh man, that was his
I
bread
didn't
and
know he
butter.
played. Okay.
Oh yeah.
That was his bread and butter, dude. That
Okay,
guy
wait a
was
minute.
a monster.
Yeah.
Because I would always see him on the cabinet next to Marvel.
Oh, for
too,
sure.
Third strike.
Yeah.
And he was decimating guys left and right, dude. And then he tried to come over to Marvel too, and he picked Combo Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
He had some moves, but he just, it was too late. Too late for him.
Yeah, and he didn't put the effort in there. He would just enjoy the game more than anything. And me and him, we were begging Neo to give Dara a game. The score was so bad. I believe it was like 9 or 10-0. And we were making fun of Dara, and Neo was laughing. It didn't even feel like a true set. That shouldn't even count.
Dara
in my opinion.
Dara was picking who?
Matrix.
Wow, I don't even remember him picking that team. I
Yeah,
remember
that
him
was
picking,
his main team.
I remember him picking MS Psych.
Oh, he had that one too.
Yeah, MS
but
Psych.
he was more of a Matrix player.
Oh, I see.
And Dara had moves, though. He wasn't like a terrible player. He just didn't have the experience to play in a situation like
You need
that.
both, bro. You need moves, and you need to generate the opportunity to land those moves.
That's right.
You have to have both in high level.
Correct.
And another thing, there's a big difference between a casual match and a tournament or money match or exhibition. They're two different things in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
They are not the same.
Yeah, different beast.
Yes. So I saw this man beat all my boys like that, and I wanted a set with him. You know, even if it wasn't a first to 15, a first to 10 is more than enough, right? I mean, it is 10 games, right?
Yeah. Is it too late to see another set? If Neil were to storm
That's
in
what I'm saying.
right now
Yeah.
and
he
say,
would
"Hey,
ask.
Evo, July, me and you, first to 15.
See you there.
We'll say for the original amount, $200. Nothing crazy.
Yes.
You have until July.
He says,
Would you do it?
Yes. Yeah, he's one of those players that can make me come back. So, yes.
It's never too late.
you hear that,
Okay.
Neo?
And it's always traditional for me and him to run a set. Every time we see each other,
Oh, for sure.
On site.
first
For
to
sure,
5,
yeah.
first to 7.
It's on
and,
site.
And there's money involved.
Yeah, it's like Sanford and I. Every time I see Sanford, it's like, oh yeah, we got to run this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's that one player that every time I see him, we got to play.
We've been focusing mainly on our region, right? West Coast. What was your experience like playing the East Coast? And who did you play with at
That's
first?
a good one. That's one thing I hate. I didn't get the opportunity to play those guys very much. They didn't come around much either to like the Evils. It was
sure.
only, I believe the first time they came around was maybe 2004.
2014, you had
You mean when Josh came down?
Josh 360, Sanford. I think G-Con entered.
Desmond?
I don't think Desmond was there. Desmond was there the following year. That might have been it. Blue Jay was there. Rest in peace. I don't know. You guys in the comments, you guys can fill me in on that. I might be wrong, but you didn't get to play anybody that year, 2014.
I know I played Sanford in the first to 5 or first to 7. Remember where those two bald eagles were commentating?
We had 2 commentators for Evo that year that were just 2 random. To me, it felt like they were 2 random dudes, right? 2 random dudes that just hopped on the mic. I mean, the microphone was kind of open. I mean, Daryl and Telly were commenting at one point, so it was. I guess these guys felt the opportunity to just jump on there and commentate. But this was 2015.
Was that too
2015.
That was my first time playing Sanford.
Playing Sanford.
Yes.
What about Reloaded 2014?
Reloaded. Oh, that's
Because that's like the pinnacle. That's like the
Oh,
pinnacle. No, well, not necessarily, but it
That-
was a main stage feel on
Yes.
your profile.
Yes, it was the first time I ever entered a main stage tournament. I think it's the only one I want to say that was out there. I mean, or do you recall? To me, Reloaded, the first one was like the only main stage tournament that I felt felt like an evil.
Yeah, absolutely.
It felt like a tournament.
It was a big fight feel.
And I remember I played you before that tournament, and I told you, I was like, Ken, if there's any tournament, this one, brother. This one. I had you winning this tournament. I had you in first place. I had you first. I had Justin second. I had Duck third, which he couldn't even.
He didn't even answer.
No, he got knocked out.
Duck got knocked out?
Yeah.
By who?
I think it was Pasadena.
What?
I think it was
Why don't I
Pasadena.
remember this? Pasadena knocked me. Pasadena.
I think so. Yeah.
Pasadena
I think it
sent
was
me to
Pasadena.
losers. Pasadena sent me. No. Sanford sent me to losers.
Okay.
And then Pasadena knocked me out.
Yeah.
And then you ended up getting fourth?
Fourth. Yes.
Fourth?
Fourth place. Yeah. That was a tournament. I grind a lot. I played a lot. I took a week off work.
Bro, that
Threw in a week of vacation for this tournament because it felt like the only opportunity for me to play in an event like that.
That's dedication.
And I was playing with Duck a lot. Me and Duck were playing a lot. I got a chance to play with you.
Yeah.
I went to every session, and that's all I did that week is eat, sleep, and play.
And play marbles,
Yes.
dude. Yeah.
That's all
Bills
I
can
did.
wait. Family.
and yeah, all that stuff was on hold at this time. Yeah,
Call me,
because I felt like the opportunities,
touch me.
For me, I felt like there just wasn't a whole lot of opportunities to showcase. There just wasn't much out there.
It's true, man.
It really isn't.
Yeah.
I know the Evil Side tournaments are cool, all that stuff, but there wasn't just much, and that's one thing that I'm like.
But bro, having a tournament like that and you getting fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, the only people above you was Pasadena,
Justin and Sanford.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that tournament in itself was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And that's
I
something.
I went through hell.
You went through some killers,
hell.
yeah. And that nobody can take that away from you. And that's to be top 5 and be amongst players of that caliber, who have also in their own right contributed so much to the community. I mean, dude, how much better can that get, right?
Yeah.
And a night before that tournament, I was in bed and I was like, I just want top 8. Just give me 8th place and I'm the happiest man in the world. That's all. I just give me 8th place and I'm happy.
Dude,
I got a little more than what I bargained for.
I got 5th and I felt like it was last place, dude. Oh my God.
Oh,
damn it.
Still good.
And these guys had the East Coast guys had a field day with that, dude, that they came out to the West Coast and the top 2 were 2 East Coast guys.
Oh man, that's
Oh man, that was a knife to the heart, dude. 2015, we had the whole bald eagle incident, whatever. We had the 2-on-2. It was me and Ray versus JTron and Desmond, right? And we lost that one, obviously.
I remember that.
Did you do anything that year? Did you play any of these guys? That Evo?
No, I didn't.
Right?
I did talk to Duck and I said, hey, how about me and you versus them too? And we did ask them, and G-Con was down. He was playing good though. And Desmond, he saw Duck and he was like, no. He didn't want to do it because of Duck, but I wanted that 2-on-2 because I was heated too. I didn't like the way you guys went down.
Dude, we asked for a run back. I think I talked about this the other episode. We asked for a run back, and Jason was like, nah, let us enjoy this.
No, it's fair enough. I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
We got to hold that.
I mean, you had your shot, and it came up a little short.
And that's it.
All. Yeah. You just have to find another opportunity, another event to.
There was something else going on around this time, because nobody was really going to Regency anymore. It was just sessions. Dead. We did have something in Panorama City called Ultimate Gaming Center.
Oh yes.
All right. Yeah. Now this spot was hot for a little while. UGC, and it was stylized after Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, right? So you had it was like a similar logo, similar mascot, the generic bald fighter guy, whatever. And this place had some tournaments.
Yes. And they had a Rambat.
They had a
6
Rambat.
months.
Yeah. And I remember I was winning most of them except one.
Yeah.
And I think you remember that one.
Yeah, I remember that one.
All right. So the way that I remember it was me and you in the finals.
Yes.
And there was a critical match where it was Sentinel versus Sentinel, and we were down to the last pixels, and you were in the air coming down, and I tried to dash over and cross you up and launch you, and as soon as you landed, I launched, you blocked, and then you did Team Super, so it was the Hyper Sentinel Force. And there's nothing I could do. Even if I canceled into flight mode or whatever,
it's instant.
Get hit.
With Team Super,
nothing I could do, and that took you the match. And if only I would have done something, if I didn't do that launch, if I would have done something differently. And this just goes to show I still remember, even though the footage has been pulled down.
Oh yeah.
UGC went through, I think, a copyright infringement because it was so similar to the UFC. I don't know.
So they had to take everything down.
They had to take everything down.
Disappear.
So all that footage is gone, unfortunately.
Oh, man, I had a lot of footage in there. It wasn't just that set. It was many others, too.
And that's why a lot of people may not know about it, is that you have a tournament where I was in there, and you took it. And that's something that's in your resume,
yes. And I played you in winners.
Did I lose or did I
No,
send you to?
won that one.
You won that one,
Yeah.
so I came back
I
from
got
losers.
up and I got hyped up too.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
My boy popped off.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember because
I believe Daryl was commentating.
was he?
I believe so. I think he was, right?
I think you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was.
Yeah.
And he was like JTron with the pop off, and I'm like, you know, and I was hyped up. I was
right, man.
I was happy. I went through some killers on that one.
Dude, West Coast has always been stacked. Even after the post Evo era, you had a lot of guys who were coming up and trying to make their mark too. Surbot was always a threat.
Oh man.
You know, Abs. This is when Abs was still more active.
I was gonna mention him
Yeah.
because in those 6 months, I'm not sure if you remember, but grand finals was either me or Abs against you.
Yeah. Abs was on a mission, bro, to take me out. I think we talked about it before.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, we did.
It was his sole mission to just take me out, and he got close a couple of times. The closest being at Evo 2016 when he sent me to losers.
Yeah.
Convincingly, it was like 3-1, and I had to.
He
fight
was
my way back.
happy too. He was like, finally.
Yeah, I put my stick down, dude. I walked off. I went and I just, took a breather, grabbed the Red Bull. I was talking to Daryl for a little bit. I'm like, this motherfucker, dude. Fucking shit.
That was one of his best performance.
Oh, for sure.
But going back to UGC, when you beat me in the finals, I remember it was like, man, I took a deep breath. Like,
And not sure if you remember, but you were up 2-0 on the second set.
I don't remember that.
The first set, I was in the winners,
Uh-huh.
and I lost the first set, and we went into the second one.
Oh, because I reset the bracket.
Yes,
you
you
reset the
we
bracket.
reset
Okay.
the bracket,
Losers.
and the second one was a perfect. The second match was
The second match was it when I did force field?
Yes.
Force field with the drones.
I came in swinging because I was like, well, this match is over, but I didn't think you were gonna do that.
I did force field into
He did
drones,
Yeah, he's coming in on-
and it was a nasty combo, and I was like, oh my god.
and then I just fucking lost, dude. I feel like I've always done better coming from the losers bracket because it's like you got nothing to lose.
You go hams.
I just go
And
crazy.
everybody in the back was counting me out too. I think some of the Alex Arcade heads were there. I believe Gala was in the back. I know Jesse was in the back. And they were like, no.
It was hype.
Because, the thing was that, you were winning so much, man.
He was on a tear,
we
man.
couldn't take you out. It was only Pasadena that got to you a couple of times. Ray got to you.
Ray would take me out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Shout outs to
but
Ray.
if we go back, nobody else was able to.
Right.
And when you got that perfect, everybody in the back was counting me out, and I turned around. I don't know if you remember this, but I do clearly. And I was like, it's just one match. It's one game. It's just one game. We're still here. And I turned around and I won three or four straight. I won them straight.
It was always the mix-ups that would get me. You would always hit me with short rocket punch, and then I had so much trouble blocking the next mix-up because you would either stay low or you would try jump to the other side and go low. I couldn't block it. I was always like, God damn.
I knew how to mix it up, man.
Yeah.
After that set, I was really exhausted.
Well, what happened was you got up, Ivan helped you up, and he raised your arm up.
Yeah.
Like he was a fucking referee or some shit. What are you doing, dude?
I had to walk outside and catch some air. I was really exhausted, and even when I sat down, in my eyes, my vision, was Magneto drones was like in my, like flashes of that in my eyes.
That's crazy.
Here's what I remember what happened afterwards. What happened afterwards was in the Facebook group, people were talking about it. And there was a couple of people that were kind of discrediting you for that. I don't know why.
I don't recall that.
I don't know why. But you did, because you tagged me and you said, hey, did you sandbag? Did you give it your all?
I think that I asked you that privately.
Was it private?
Yes, I sent you a message that I think this was the next day, actually.
Was it?
And I asked you, I'm like, hey, did you give me your best?
Yeah, and I said, yeah.
And you said
yes.
yes.
I said, yeah, I did. You
and
got
I was
me,
like,
bro.
okay.
Yeah.
And I said, thank you.
Yeah.
And I left it alone.
Oh, okay. So then it was in the DMs.
It
then.
was in the
Okay.
DMs. I don't recall. I was never the type to go in the group and post anything. I never posted results or say, oh, good games to this person. I won this set or this much.
Yeah.
I never did those things.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was under the impression that people were questioning it, but
I don't remember.
I mean, you fucking got like there was nothing to discredit from. Like you got me, and that was it. I mean, four straight.
It was a magical night for me.
Yeah. So once again, another thing that people may not be aware of is that you fucking won a tournament against me.
Yeah.
Where you sent me to losers and you eliminated me in grand finals.
And in that same tournament, it was Ray in winners finals. So that was good for me too. That was a good one for me too.
Man.
Abs was part of that one.
There were so many people that I had to go through, dude. Yeah. I know we both did.
Yeah.
And these guys were always out for blood, man. Sirbot was always unrelentless. Anytime that I would play him, he would always do his best to take me out. And he did take me out. 2015 Evo. Yeah. He sent me to losers.
That was the first time I seen him send you to losers.
He sent me to losers. It was 2-0.
He was happy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did end up getting him back in the losers bracket. But that's another thing that people may not be aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why it's a shame, man. It's a shame that the UGC footage got scrubbed from the internet.
That fucking sucks.
Because those were some intense matches, bro.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't a high-profile setting like Evo or whatever, we were still playing our asses off.
And there was good players in those tournaments, too.
Oh, yeah.
We had visitors on those tournaments.
Yeah, exceptional talent. I remember Josh 360 came down one time, and we had some matches there at UGC. Dark Prince's money matches against Ivan.
Oh yeah.
You know, Ivan had a bullseye on his forehead, bro. And he just Dark Prince just couldn't pull it off, dude. You know, and I remember Dark Prince was hyping it up, like, I got a new stick, it's custom built, everything is brand new.
And he was playing.
But Ivan was just. I remember Ivan was on the come up, so he did his homework too. Apparently, say what you want about Ivan, but he's got a solid cable, dude.
It's one of the best.
One of the best, yes. Yeah. If we look back, the way that he plays, it is one of the best for sure. Not the best, but he's up there. He's in the talks. Yeah. Sanford has said it. We're talking about it, obviously. So you can't take that away from him. So UGC closes its doors, right?
Yeah, they do.
Unfortunately. Yeah. At this time, you and I kind of got closer. We got closer along with Wes, and we found common ground outside of Marvel with fucking Funko Pops, right?
Oh yes.
So that's always cool. It's always been cool to connect with people outside of just the game, and we get into other things.
See, that's one of the things about this game is it introduced me to great people that I'm friends with today. And I still talk to them to this day. So this game means a lot to me.
Yeah. Dude, we went through so many Funko Pop experiences. And just talking about the market and stuff like that. For those of you, I mean, just like anybody else, guys, JTron has a variety of hobbies. Collectibles is one. Oh, yes. He's an avid 49ers fan, right?
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Yes.
Which brings me to my next point.
Oh, God.
2016, all right. I relocated to San Jose for work. Okay. So I moved up north. I only had a couple of people to play with. Johnson, Anthony's came by a couple of times, and, of course, Chunksta. So we kind of set up, or I kind of set it up.
You set that up, yeah.
You found yourself.
I thought we were just going to play some casuals and all fun and games because, I was going for a 49er game out there. And
yeah, you found yourself on a road trip to go up north, and I kind of figured, hey, maybe you can stop by, we'll chill for a little bit, and you can play Chunksta. Yeah. Now, Chunksta has always been a beast, bro. He got second place in 2008.
He's a runner-up twice at Evo.
What other
twice.
year?
He got second place twice.
In 2008, and what other year?
I don't remember the other year, but I know it's twice because I remember those videos.
Okay. I remember you guys coming over, but the only issue was that I didn't have the right TV. Yeah. I was doing everything on my flat screen Samsung, I mean, not a true HD TV, but it's not a CRT either.
All right.
So there was a little bit of input delay. And you guys played it was a first to 10?
It was 15.
First to 15.
Yes.
Was there money?
Yes, there was.
How much did you guys play for?
If I'm not mistaken, it was for $100 or
$100.
$150. I believe it was. I don't know, but it was something like that.
Dude, that was crazy. Especially, you remember how small that space was?
Yeah.
The studio.
That was the studio.
It was a studio, bro.
Yeah.
And man, those are some horrible times. but you guys came through, and there were actually some good matches.
Yes.
Some good matches, and I'm just in the back like, what the hell? These guys are fucking throwing it down.
You recorded it also.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, if you guys go to my channel, I'll actually post it up.
Put a link into the description.
I'll put a link in the description. The set is still up. It's JTron versus Chunksta. And you can obviously see some input errors because of the TV and the stick that you were using, whatever. But those are some good matches. But how crazy is it that like you found yourself up north, up north, I'm up there, and you were able to stop by and get some games in, like with me, with Chunksta. Like it's just.
Well, we were out there for 2 nights, so I figured I'm like, well, I can spend this day with you guys, and play, and maybe I'll go have a drink or something, and that's how I ended.
What a small world, bro.
Yeah.
You were in San Jose.
I was in San Jose. Yeah.
Basically on the way out there.
Yeah. After that, things didn't work out, obviously, with me and the company that I was with up north. I came back to SoCal like in 2017, and then we started running sessions at Duck, and that's when we formed. We call it the Illuminati. I don't think we've talked about this yet.
No,
right?
We haven't talked about this.
The Illuminati.
Yeah.
That's for all of our listeners out there. Marvel 2 has an Illuminati, and it's comprised. It's a secret society, dude. So don't you ever fucking talk about it anywhere else. And it's comprised of myself, JTron, Wes, Ray, and Duck. And we were able to, and it wasn't 2017. It was a little bit before that, right? Was it, or was it 2017? When we were all kind of getting together. Yeah, 2017 sounds about right. Yeah. And we would go over to like Ducks or Rays or whatever, and we would have sessions, and sometimes we'd stream. Back in the old days when we would have to go on Facebook Live. Like Duck would put the phone, he would put the phone on his work boot.
Yes.
On his work boot, remember?
Yes.
And that was his tripod.
Yeah, that's so true.
But dude, those were the sessions. That was like the most elite sessions that we ever experienced, because we were all top guys, and we were just playing against each other and just having sets. And sometimes like I would get some wins, or majority of the wins. Sometimes Duck would just maul all of us.
Yeah.
You would get your games. Wes was kind of like in and out, so he wasn't really playing top.
Yeah.
But dude, we would order food and just bullshit and just have a good time, dude.
Good sessions.
Yeah, not just practice, but we would socialize and do our thing.
Oh yes.
And then Wes got his place, and we started doing the sessions over there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And man, I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because we had some good laughs and some good moments, good food, good drinks, good Marvel, and
it's good vibes all around, man.
Yeah, if you look back at how we were back in 2008, 2009, I would have never imagined, bro. Never imagined that I would have been, there with you guys having these games and doing all these things.
Is it because of the click thing? Or you had your own circle, maybe?
Well, are you referring to Infrit?
Yeah.
And Prodigy? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, in 2009, I kind of went solo, because these guys, and I've talked about it with Infrit about this, and I made a comment along the lines of, you guys kind of like left me behind, and he said that they all moved on, like we all moved on from Marvel 2, and then that made me think like, well, why didn't I move on? Like Marvel 3 came out, Street Fighter 4 came out, none of these other games enticed me as much as Marvel 2, and I think it's because I felt there was still more. Like, I'm not done yet. There's still more to discover and still more to implement in this game.
Right.
And even today with all the shit that's coming out, Shuma, the Spider-Man at Fight Kingdom, you know, like there's still things that can be done at high level. And that's where people say, well, I mean, you're the only one who's really investing time and all that. But that's my choice. That's my personal choice, and that's what I do with it, you know. Anybody else could do what I'm doing, but maybe there's, you know, other factors. Maybe you don't have the time. Maybe you don't have the system anymore. Maybe you sold your stick. Or
all kinds of reasons.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things going on. I'm just in a place where I can do that. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
No.
You know,
when you truly enjoy doing something you do, and it fuels you.
Yeah, and it's not just the clicks either, but it's all of the issues that there were personal issues that we all had at one point. Like I had my problems with Wes that we talked about during his episode. I had issues with Ray at one point, with you also. You know, we kind of had like our little exchanges here and there. Yeah. But that's why it kind of blows my mind that we were able to kind of like
put that to the side
or move past it, and now, dude, we're fucking
come together.
How many inside jokes we have and all that shit, and
grow as
conversations.
people, man.
Yeah, it's just it can be done, right?
We
it's
matured.
Never too late. Yeah, it's never too late. So if you guys have a beef or whatever, or there's an issue, it's never too late to squash it.
Yeah, it's not worth it either.
Yeah. After that, well, once we were doing the sessions, but the competition kind of like it kind of died down. 2018 had nothing for us. Like
there was Evo, wasn't
there? There was Evo, but there was no singles tournament. It was a team tournament that ended up not working out because the following day nobody showed up.
Oh damn!
I think Ivan was supposed to show up with I don't know who else. I think only 2 teams showed up, and we had the main stage time, and they told us, hey man, it's
time.
Hey, you guys need to figure it out. Yeah. So we did the 3
East
on
versus West.
The 3-on-3. And remember, it was me, you, and Duck.
Yeah.
Versus...
Yeah, Blue came up to me. He was like, hey, I need you guys to figure it out and, just play.
And we did, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, a lot of people weren't happy about that. Well, there was only one guy, one dirtbag, who kind of made his voice heard, and he was like, oh, this is a joke. You guys are unbelievable.
Well, in my opinion, I felt like me and VDO had no business doing anything on that stage, in my opinion. And, well, I'm speaking for myself because I didn't really train for that. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. And I didn't have much practice coming into Evo. At this point, I just come around because I love the game, yeah. The community. I like hanging out with everyone, and I wasn't prepared for that. So I felt like somebody else was more deserving to be there.
There was nobody else.
But that's the problem. Yeah. There was nobody else. And Blue was like, hey, man, I need you to play. And that's when Duck came up to me. He's like, no, you're playing.
Yeah, you're playing. I said,
well, let's play.
Yeah. I would counter argue that you were deserving of that because of what you had accomplished up until that point. You weren't as active.
Right.
You were kind of slipping into almost like a cable guy role. You know, the cable guy only shows up fucking every Evo and he touches every stick. Like, hey, let me borrow your stick. But we made it work, dude. We made it work, and we got the win, and we just did the best that we could given the circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Yeah. 2019. Did you do anything that year? Did you go to Evo? Because that was the high roller tournament where the entry fee was $100.
Yeah, I didn't enter, but I was there. The last tournament I entered for Evo was 2017.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last one, and since then I didn't enter any of them anymore. But I was there because, like I said, it was always the community. I like coming around and saying what's up to everyone.
Good times, dude.
And one thing, too, I love watching other people play. So that's one thing. I could sit a chair, grab my popcorn, and just watch people play, and I enjoy it.
That's dope.
So
It's great, dude.
Yes.
It's a great game to play, great game to watch
yes.
also.
And that High Rollers, I was watching it, and I was enjoying it.
It's exciting.
Yes.
What was your experience like playing, because we talked about the East Coast, right? You had money matches with Desmond?
Yeah, I did in Chicago.
What about Sanford?
Sanford. Well, I played him in that 1st to 7. It was 2015, I believe. I lost to him. After that, I played him another 2 times where they were just casuals. They don't mean anything. And he quit on me. He rage quit on me.
Oh, shit.
Twice, actually. On one of them, he was saying something about the stick, and that he was gonna go play over there, and he left upset. Don't know why. I took it as whatever. It's they're just casuals. They don't mean anything.
Magneto?
Yeah. And the second time, Tree Fady was actually in the back. Duck was in the back, and they were laughing because he got up and he was like, "You're so wild." He was like, "You're all over the screen." With Magneto, he was complaining about Magneto, and I actually had a perfect going in there in that match when he got up and he just said, I can't do this.
Oh, shit.
And I was just like, well, okay. So I resetted the game and just moved on.
Well, Sanford's always had a hatred towards Magneto. Because of,
Yeah, it's pretty well known by now.
We all know
we all
that.
know that.
it's all
But
common knowledge.
I feel like he just didn't like the fact that I was able to hang in there with him because
Maybe he didn't know who you were.
Maybe, yeah.
And
yeah,
that's another factor too, is that you're getting blown up by. It's pride. It's a pride thing, right? That's why a lot of people
they
choose
were
not
just
to
casuals.
play.
I mean, they didn't really mean anything.
Right.
I mean, it really takes nothing away from him either. We know how great he is.
The issue with that is
So,
that not everybody shares that mentality, and some people will take casuals, and as soon as they're done, they'll hop on their phone and they'll message somebody, "Hey man, I just got wins off of this guy."
Oh, I never did none of those things.
There's people that do.
Oh,
Dirtbags
I
that
know.
do that.
I've seen it. Oh yeah. I just wanted to play the guy because I know I'm playing a legend, and
That's right.
I didn't get those opportunities to play him much either since he's an East Coast player.
There's another tournament that slipped under the radar.
Okay.
2019, the Showboat Casino Resort.
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about that one.
Okay, so this was an event going on, and this was when Roundhouse and Josh 360 had their money match. That first to, was it 15? I believe it was.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Was it for 10K?
Oh, it was a lot of money involved. Yeah. I know the East Coast was not very happy. And,
but you ended up winning that tournament.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Who was in the bracket?
Chris Matrix was in there. A couple of the other East Coast players were in there too, but they just didn't play. Some of them didn't play. Like Josh Wigfall didn't play. G-Con, I think G-Con DQ'd also. He didn't care. They were upset. I think they were mad over the loss.
Oh, for Roundhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they left, and only a few of them stayed. Roundhouse stayed. Roundhouse wanted to win tournament.
Of course.
Me and Wes were there, and Blue was also there, and he was doing the whole recording and streaming stuff.
Either way, that's another feather in your cap, bro.
I mean, I'll take it. I wasn't expecting to win it either, because I wasn't playing very well either. I did play G-Con in the first to 10 though.
Nice. How did that go?
No, it didn't go well. I lost.
Oh shit.
Bad. Yeah. I had some troubles with the monitors that they were playing on. The last thing I ever want to do is put that as an excuse, but at the end of the day, I pressed start.
Right.
but I did have to like adapt to those monitors.
Slight timing issue.
I want to
Yeah.
say yeah.
Okay.
And I played G-Con. I think the score was like 10-5, I believe, or 10-4. I got a couple of wins towards the end, but he was playing good, man. And
Yeah,
I couldn't.
Around
I
that
couldn't keep
time,
up with
yeah,
him,
around
right?
that time he was definitely a beast.
I felt like for me to keep up with a player like him, I have to sit down and play and play. And, yeah. But if it wasn't for that set, I wouldn't have won that tournament because he pissed me off. So that set drove me to play better in the tournament. I was like, okay, you know what?
Time to focus up.
Yeah, let me focus over here now. And I was able to win that tournament. It was
Who was in the finals?
Me and Wes.
Oh, okay.
And I told him, I'm like,
Nice.
as long as one of us takes it, we're good. Because
Taking it home,
West
baby.
Coast,
yeah,
baby.
That's
me
right.
and Wes were doing a East Coast trip, and it so happened to, that
Coincide.
event was,
Yeah.
it was around that
Nice.
time, so that's why we went. And I was able to win that one. I was able to get by that
Dude,
one.
that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Guys, this is what we're talking about. There's a lot of things that fly under the radar, a lot of accomplishments, and that's what we're trying to do is just bring it to light, and make sure that everybody knows that you've put your own
Yeah.
footprint in this community and set your mark. The COVID era happened, right? We've talked about this plenty of times with multiple
yeah.
guests. It kind of killed the vibe for us. No more DC sessions.
Yeah.
The 20th anniversary of Marvel 2 was scrapped.
No,
You know,
I
that
wanted
was-
to see that one.
that was another thing,
that
Huge
was
loss for
something.
us,
Oh
huh?
man,
I feel like you kind of went missing during that era.
I did.
Yeah.
And, also, everyone was playing online too, and I was like, well, I'm not interested in online, so I just said, well, there's nothing going on, so
Nothing went on.
No.
A lot of us disappeared. The
No.
ones that stayed online continued to find a way to make it work. People started making content. Thrilla, Roundhouse, the East
yeah.
Coast guys. We had to find a way to kind of fill that gap, and that's what we did.
Shout outs to those two guys, Thriller and Roundhouse. The work that they've done, with the streaming and keeping the game alive is really.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, honestly. I couldn't do what those guys do.
You can't do the commentary, bro.
I mean, it's not the commentary. It's more of the work and the time that they put in.
Just like what we did, man. It's an
Yeah.
investment.
Yeah.
And you're spending a lot of money on equipment.
Yeah.
And time and figuring out the settings and what works and whatnot.
Yeah, so kudos to those
Yeah,
guys, man.
definitely.
They deserve their flowers for
Yeah.
doing what they do. And the
Definitely.
sessions that Thriller throws also, they're, man,
Yeah.
it's great.
Shout outs to anybody who, not just them, but anybody who has a Twitch, a YouTube. You guys are taking the time to record content and put it out there for us. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, yes.
The game is closing in on 25 years.
Yeah.
Being out more than what some of these new FGC guys have, it's older than a lot of these new fighting game community members.
Yeah.
They don't know about the game or how it works, and we're still here trying to grind it out and talk about it, squeezing every last drop out of it. How do you see the community nowadays and in the direction that we're going? Because now you have a lot of people who want to, a lot of fresh faces that we haven't seen before,
Oh, yeah.
and they're starting to get into it. Do you have any advice for anybody who wants to pick up the game? Anybody who's looking to get started? What advice would you have for somebody
the
that's
rookies.
to take the JTron path?
Okay. One thing I do want to say is you're going to go through a lot of L's before you earn those W's. Be patient, learn as much as you can, travel, compete in tournaments, money match if you have to, because that helps. It helped me because I felt like since there was some pressure involved, it helped me prepare for tournaments also. Just grind it out, man. Come out and play. Not just at home online, but come out.
I think if the money match is definitely a great suggestion. If you can't do that for our newbies out there, set a goalpost. And if you find yourself playing somebody online or in person, make it a 2 out of 3. Make it a first to 5. Make some kind of goalpost. So you're heading towards something, and it's not just, oh, you want to play some casuals? Oh yeah, let's play casuals. Yeah. You know, that'll kind of help with jitters and putting a little bit of pressure on it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The last thing is the run back. We do that every episode. Okay. Is there any prior loss or any prior set that you've lost that you want to correct, or that you wish you could correct with enough practice and enough training?
Well, I truly don't. I felt like I got what I wanted out of the game, and I'm very comfortable where I'm at. There are players that I wish I could have done better against them, or at least get a few more W's. You know, you being one of them. Pasadena, that's another one. But outside of that, I got exactly what I wanted out of the game, and maybe that's why I'm so comfortable today that I feel like I don't have the need to really come out and try to prove something.
Fair enough.
Yeah, since I feel comfortable.
Yeah, fair enough. And I don't know what it's going to take for me to get that feeling. I don't know.
You've done enough.
I feel like I cannot walk away from the game until something happens. Like something happens where it's going to make me feel like, all right, yeah, it's time. I feel like I'm close.
To hanging it up?
I feel like I'm close. And if you're going to ask me what it's going to take, you know how when we're in a match, right? Let's say it's Magneto versus Magneto, right? There's times where you do this all the time. There's a Magneto on you, and you'll time it to where you do a crouching jab, snapback. That's like that. It's a situation that you know how to do it. Make a split decision, right?
Yes.
And in Marvel 2, there's a lot of times, a lot of moments in the scramble where you know what button to press at the right time, and you just make a snap decision like that. And I feel like I'm close. I'm close to where I know what to do in every situation.
Oh, wow.
And that's why my matches go by like this, where I either die. I die so fast, or the match is over instantly. You'll rarely see time over in my matches. Right? Yeah. Would you agree?
Yes,
like it's
I
never
would agree.
It's never time over.
No, it doesn't go to that.
It's always quick, and I feel like I'm close, dude. I'm this close to knowing what to do in every situation.
You have it all mapped.
Yeah. And I think that when the skill gap is that wide again, how it used to be like 10 years ago, like 10 years ago, it was evident that I was head and shoulders above everybody else, right? And I don't know, dude. I feel like that's what it would take for me to walk away. Is when I know, okay, I have it all mapped out.
Mission completed.
Mission completed, yeah. But I mean that's more that's more for the game engine, right? It's not really like sets. Like for me, I've corrected everything, right? I've had enough time to correct everything against Reset, against Wes, against Justin Wong, against Sanford, Pasadena. Like like it's already done. So in that aspect, yeah, I'm with you 100%. But like I said, there's something that just keeps me continuing to grind.
And as long as that's there, then we can continue to live it on, bro.
It's almost disgusting, dude.
You're already a legend of the game.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm not sure how much more can you break this game than you already have.
What else can I do, bro?
I mean, for you to explore Spider-Man and Shuma.
And Strider, the Strider stuff that I'm doing nowadays. The only other thing would be to pick up a different team. People want me to pick Dawson, Spiral. You know, like that's something that I could do also, but it's more time, dude. More time and more L's. Like you said, I'm gonna have to take some L's, and I'm not used to it. I'm not used to taking L's, bro.
I hear you on that.
As soon as he picks MSS, it's like coming home.
Matrix, dude. Matrix for me is like, I feel like that's my best team now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very oppressive fucking team, bro.
But you know, that's a story for another day.
You won at Reloaded too with Matrix. You played it. I know you played it.
No, I got second place. I got second place against Duck.
Oh, right, but you were winning with that team.
I was,
right?
yeah, I was.
you
I
were
beat
doing good with that
Surbot
team.
with it. I beat Pasadena with it. Dude, that I had to work my way up because I
Jin?
fucking picked Spider-Man, and Jin sent me to losers.
To losers.
And this was early on. This was like my second or third match, and then I had to work my way all the way back up to grand finals against Duck. And against Duck, I can't pick anything but MSS.
Yeah,
I need MSS against Duck. That's the only way.
Yeah.
I can't wear him down with Matrix. I have beaten Duck in a long set before with Matrix, but MSS is
you
more
had to go with your bread and
reliable.
butter.
Yeah. Anyway, JTron, we went over your history, man. I appreciate you being on here, telling your story. The advice that you give to the up and comers, solid advice. I hope that you guys listening can take that into account. And now, you guys listening at home, you know a little bit more about the history behind not just JTron, but Regency in general, and the dynamic that they had as a community and as an arcade. There's a lot more that we have to cover with different members. I mean, we'll see who we can get on here and kind of fill in the gaps, but there's so many more stories to tell, bro. You know, and I'm sure that once we're done here and you go home or whatever, you're gonna think, fuck, dude, I forgot to cover that. But like I said, these 2 hours just slip by.
They go by quick.
Like nothing. Juan, do you have anything else for us?
No, I don't. I think we're good.
A man of few words.
Yes. Thank you though for having me here. This was awesome. This is my first time being in a podcast.
The first of many,
the
bro.
first of many.
We're gonna do an Illuminati
Hopefully,
one with Duck and
that
Wes
would be
on here.
nice. It would be nice to bring Duck here.
I've been wanting to get him on here,
I'm
but
gonna
he's
convince him.
Please do.
he says he's not much of a public speaker, but
It's okay. We could all carry it.
Neither am I, but we can. You know,
We'll make it
figure
work.
Make it work.
Out, you know,
Yeah,
we'll
make
make
it
it
work.
work. I mean, but yeah, I will be at a Fight Kingdom. I'm gonna try to get in some kind of shape for it too. I'd like to. I don't want to go out there and just go 0-2.
Yeah.
So I will be practicing at home. At least I'll try to, shape up a little bit for it.
we might see Junior B up there, bro.
Oh man, I would love to see.
He was
that
there.
guy
He was there
again.
last year.
Oh man, yeah, I'd like to say what's up to him.
Ivan, you got anything for us?
No, man. It's great to have Jay here. I mean, just hearing his story just filled in a lot of gaps too. And like I said, we have plenty of other members to bring on. And again, once again, for Jay, I mean, if there was somebody that you could choose to have a money match with, it's obviously going to be Neo, right? I think that just cements it.
It would be him.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's not a run back for you.
Right.
It's his run back. I've been wanting to get Neo on here also, but it's
I
just
think Neo's
Oh,
a great.
I hope you
schedules.
bring him one day.
Schedules have always it's
We'll
always been
figure
a
it out.
conflict, but we'll set something up.
We'll figure it out. We got World on here, so
Guys, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. I appreciate you guys. If you're still listening, thank you for sticking by. Thanks for waiting. It's been a while since we had one of these. It's been a while, and we'll try to keep these on more frequently. Shout outs to everybody that we mentioned. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for continuing to support the channel, the community in general, Marvel 2, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
thank
Peace
you
out.
guys. And thanks, Jay.
All right.